Thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. I'm actually very interested in this work because there is similar work that I would like to plan to do. My main comment is about the application of the COM-B model. There are some examples of research that have been done in implementation science using that model, and it has been very useful in guiding the intervention to use. But in this particular setting, it seems as if they sat down, they did not really get the detail of each of the components of the COM-B model. There is very little of a mixed methods approach in this research. For example, I've not seen where they had some, they talk about feedback from the health workers, but it is not clear exactly at what time point. Maybe you will clarify on that one. At what time point that feedback was used to generate the interventions. It could be that the denominator was not right, but it could also be that they were targeting the wrong problems because of the way the COM-B model was applied. Dr. Katuramu has just presented there how the three objectives, one of the objectives was focusing on capability, but it is as if it's them who thought that this will provide a solution, without getting the feedback from there. For example, there is one of the problems there that I've seen where they were saying patient awareness is one of the problems which the health workers identified. So that gets us wondering, at what point did they use the COM-B? Because it is nowhere indicated in the research how the COM-B model helped them to generate interventions that will actually tackle the problem. There's a gap I saw in their application of the COM-B model.
Okay, thank you very much for that comment. I'm sure the presenters are taking notes. We can have like 2 or 3 other comments or questions, areas of clarification, and then I'll hand over to Richard and Grace to make comments to the questions that have been asked. Yes, please.
The objective that talks about identifying the barriers of implementation of these strategies, I would feel that they would get that information much better if they did in-depth interviews as a method of choice or focus group discussion with the participants of this study. Using a prescriptive questionnaire, which is in table 3, may be limiting the feedback that people who actually participated in the intervention would give. Then secondly, I just wanted to know what kind of health workers were involved, because healthcare workers is a very blanket term. So, for instance, if there were community health workers, or there were nurses, or medical doctors, would these findings be the same for all those different kinds of health workers?
So as other questions come along, I'll request Richard and Grace to make a few comments, what has been raised, and then we'll pick more questions.
I can comment on Susan's comment. Yeah, it's true. We also noticed that the COM-B model was not really applied in the way they were implementing. It's as if they just mentioned that we use the COM-B model, but really we don't see it first. Them aiming at the ability of contributing to really more than implement.
I'm glad that you also noticed that, because I'm doing similar work on isoniazid preventive therapy, and I've just written a micro-research proposal just to focus on the feedback I got from this forum, from Dr. Semitara and from Dr. Irene Yakaka. Because you may sit here and assume, okay, combi model capability, okay, the nurses don't have the capability to monitor the participants or the clients. And it's you who is thinking and putting it there. But it is better if you use that C, because that C is split into physical capability and psychological capability. Then you will go back and say, do they have the skills? For each of these C, you go down to the users or the implementers of the program and get those problems from them. And then if the problems exist, that's when you will implement a strategy. Because you've got those problems from them, but we don't see it coming out very well here.
Just to mention, they had a training, so maybe those are some of the things.
Yeah, but at what point did that training come? Did the health workers tell them they need a training?
Okay, your points have been noted.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Maybe just after I've been asked a very, very difficult question whether I was supposed to present or we did a paper, but by and large, one of the issues why first of all we chose this paper was to show how some implementation science applied to build solve problems. But even the application sometimes can fail. One of the issues based on the design and implementation science was research findings that I looked at before. You know, there was somebody said qualitative research in South Africa, and then you have lack of knowledge as one of the areas of implementation science research. I have the witness because they should have gone back. They should have actually started, the regular should have started with qualitative assessment and find out the problems. So they know about it. And indeed, they report on very well, they use mixed methods of research, because eventually you know come out very well. In terms of feedback, the feedbacks were not, they were just to act as an motivating factor. And indeed the feedbacks were going to help the clinic managers so that they can be able to transmit the information to the health workers, be able to motivate them, maybe combi model is a common. So and what you can say actually, there is also, you're supposed to apply intervention, and the new intervention has cited 9 or 8 components in that intervention, and they know it contributed. I agree, because they only looked at the barriers, the other component of the intervention did not come in. Because of the intervention, they should have gone back. The other 9 behavioral, actually, that's when we combine the behavioral check one, to be able to bring up the intervention, the persuasion,
Education.
Exactly. So they do not bring that intervention out in the application. They stop on one part, barriers. In terms of this, usually questionnaires, they should have gone to the what they said, they should have gone to meeting interviews or format interviews, be able to get ideas from the lab, from the population, what exactly they is. But one of the issues they looked at is they said that there was a questionnaire, and which probably, I don't know how they came about it, but maybe it came from previous research work that had been done, because if you notice, they said one of the clinics had experience in implementation science research. I can't also tell from that, and that is the weakness. In terms of healthcare workers, one is that they say the healthcare workers used to work in these clinics. I don't remember really where they said from different healthcare, but at least they said they used to work in the HIV clinic. I would assume that the HIV clinic they came from in Uganda, how many clinicians, nurses, so we can dispose some questions. Any question?
You did not comment about the multivariate.
And the health workers?
It's just commented about it. Multivariate analysis. Like, what was the essence of it?
Now, one of the, yes, if you look at, they were looking at what they look at barriers, I think there is that factors also associated with failure. That's what we should do with the multivariate analysis. Because what they find, remember that they said there are factors already identified, especially in South Africa, Then they put in other factors like lack of knowledge, fear of asthma's resistance, as stock out. So here they're trying to identify are there other factors which could be also what could be responsible for that. That's why they're looking for that in that analysis. I think they came up with some other new findings from that research, but most of the findings were the previous originally.
So for me as a lay policy maker, when I look at the odds ratio for pregnancy status 15, it's a very, actually 18, adjusted odds ratio. But what does it tell me? Does it tell me that if you're pregnant, you're 18 times more likely to initiate IPT? Or I just want it in simple language, what is odds ratio mean?
Yeah, what you say, if you're pregnant, there are higher chances. You're 18 times more likely to initiate.
18 times more likely on the odds of your starting compared to someone who is not pregnant.
Yes.
But what does it mean?
Okay, first of all, there was bias in those results because some of the initial findings they were really pushing towards pregnancy status. And so mostly people are really talking about pregnancy. So probably what they're trying to say is actually who, and I said who did towards the positive side of the finding already. Because in terms of knowledge, they did the ANC attendance, one of the units actually having the ANC attendance. So that would have bias about the findings. But by saying 18, that means actually odds of someone who is pregnant and initiated in IPT are 18. For odds, now odds are different, but that's basically because there is a odds ratio, but that's why I say that someone who's pregnant and more likely to initiate in IPT than one who's not pregnant.
Just a follow-up on that. What were the percentage of those who are pregnant compared, the percentage of those out of the total number, what was the percentage? Is it that we had more or very few that were pregnant? Because by the time we get this 18%, I'm wondering what was the proportion of those that were pregnant in the whole population? I mean 18, what the odds of 18, I'm wondering the proportion of the pregnant. Of the whole population.
3.8% were pregnant.
How many?
3.8%.
Yeah, then you can have such a
No, of course, one of the
Yeah, of
issues.
course it's a.
That's true, what they're trying to say, but one of the issues here is they are looking at, personally I would have, that's what I'm looking at, but I was looking at the application of the implementation science in actual findings to improve in our guidelines in terms of IPT uptake. The target was not necessarily pregnancy per se, it was HIV and TB population. That's why it was HIV. So pregnancy came out as during the analysis as they tried to look at it as part of the factors maybe, but it was not, that's why there was no any calculation of sample size, they just went to the clinic and started doing it. So that is one of the weaknesses because they should have calculated the factor analysis in terms of what will bring us significant what results if we analyze the factors. But it wasn't there. And that's why I said I didn't look at the way in analyzing and put it in the paper, but what exactly we need. Because if you have done some of analysis or some process calculation, you tell me that these are some of the factors which you should use in terms of what is association with the outcomes. This is what we should have done with such issues.
So I'm going to chip in at that point to again, of course, thank you very much for the discussions. I think so far two things that are coming out strongly from the discussion so far. The study design, the way they did their study, probably they should have added a stronger qualitative component to be able to pick some of the factors that are associated with IPT uptake. And the other thing that is coming out again so far from the discussions is that even the application of the implementation science model that they did was not very exhaustive to really bring out the issues that they wanted in the study. And maybe to make a comment on the pregnant women, if you look at table 1, you will also notice that the program earlier, even before the intervention, this IPT program was already kind of running among the pregnant women, so that alone causes some form of bias. So I'll take more comments, and just to remind us again that if we can focus our questions and comments to help us learn more on implementation science, what are we learning in terms of implementation science, looking at this article. Yes?
Maybe also to make a comment about solutions. When you see the numbers in statistics, if you're comparing like 5%, you're comparing around like 14 who are pregnant, is it 20 something, versus around 600. So usually it causes the big confidence, but not of course, and the big adjusted odds ratio. But I wanted also to mention that these people do not form from their association. I think maybe it didn't make sense to them, because in the conclusions I can't see it here. And definitely it's because of comparing the small subset.
Okay, thank you very much. So again, I'm going to ask, what are some of those things, knowing that we are all students of implementation science? How best do you think this study should have been conducted in order to help the researchers get as much information as possible from their study? Yes.
My issues with the first question that was raised about coming up with an intervention that has not been informed by background work in the same setting to come up with an intervention. Here, one thing I look at is in research we usually take up findings done by other people. So if someone has already done that work in similar settings, like the quoted studies which have shown education, knowledge to be known, and here need to be guided. Can't someone base those factors, use those factors to design an intervention? Must you always do a background work in that local setting, even when similar work has been done in similar settings?
Thank you very much. I'm going to throw that to the presenters, and then I'll also make additional comments.
Thank you for your question. That one also, I also first of all, answer it from another First of all, in implementation science, we try to use the basis of previous findings and so answer how much yes, I think that based on that, use one intervention, because I've already done the same community, and now we're going to go over settings. However, there are people that are other factors that are changing factors. So we also let us go back and find out your own research findings. But not mixing myself, I think it's right to use the previous findings if it's within the same setting.
Okay. Yes, and I think the other important aspect also in implementation science is that the context matters. So a study could have been done in Russia, in the US, but how does it relate to your local context? So that is very important, and that's why sometimes you may find that you need to do maybe a feasibility study to see, for instance, if you find that as SMC is doing well, I mean it helps prevent, acquisition of HIV to a certain extent. If you took it to circumcising, traditionally circumcising regions, will it be accepted, your medical circumcision? So there is the aspect of the context in which you're bringing this intervention that has been known to work. It matters a lot. So that's why sometimes we want to know if your intervention will be accepted in the first place, whether it is feasible in that context.
I actually want to supplement And what I think will also improve the presentation a bit is, like you said, implementation science looks at evidence that has worked somewhere and then it's being translated into or scaled up. And so if the people who present these papers would tease out, say, things like what is the evidence that is being translated, what is the practice gap, possibly they could already be written in the paper. But if the presenter could start by orienting us and say, these authors, this was the evidence they were translating, this was the practice gap we were looking at, this was the evidence practice gap, this was the outcome gap we were trying to bridge. Possibly for us who are studying implementation science or learning, it would spice up also the presentation.
That's a comment well taken. They mentioned all those bits, but probably maybe emphasizing that this is the gap here and what, but it's a good comment that we've taken. Yes, Susan?
Yes, and
Make it short.
And basing on what she said for using previously done work, sometimes I think there may even be no funding. We may not have funding to do this other, because it takes funding. You need to have IRB approvals and it needs funding. You may need to compensate participants and you don't have. So I think through such circumstances, even if the setting is not exactly the same but similar, then we can apply the combi model backwards. But I would personally prefer the face-to-face application of the combi model.
Okay, I saw two other hands.
Thank you. My personal reflection on how the combi model was used seems to indicate that they had, because they have this intervention. And then the way they stated the aim, it's like they are looking for what are the remaining barriers still existing in the implementation of the intervention, for what I read here. And my own thoughts to that, in a way, make the paper incomplete, because I would think what they would have done was first of all to present these barriers and map them according to the complete model, so that you actually understand where each of these barriers fall. But actually use that to inform intervention or a proposed intervention or intervention functions that now implemented this, but now we found these other barriers and we think for this to be more effective. This is how the intervention should look like at the end. And that may be something that presenting this paper that another person can pick up to use, but not him just telling us that these are the barriers and they stop there without even mapping them to the complex questions.
Okay, that's a very good point. And is there any other implementation science model or framework that you think could have been more appropriate for this study? Because they were looking at uptake, looking at factors that are leading to IPT initiation, looking at barriers. Are there any other implementation science models or frameworks that we think would have been more appropriate for this study?
There is one code in the Anderson's model of service organization, which talks about that utilizing the service which comes from the system, the users, and the providers. I think maybe, I don't know, I can also try to answer some of the barriers.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. I actually decided just keep quiet, and it's very interesting. I think every time we have these implementation science presentations, there's going to be, they call it a drift. Sometimes we move from implementation science to technology. But first of all, I would like to thank the presenters for taking time to look through the papers and also come to discuss them with us. I think it's part of learning as you do. I think you learn better when you do. I think I agree entirely that, and that always happens when we assume we know where the gaps are because some study has been done. And someone said, you know, financial reasons, but these were guidelines, for God's sake. It is something that is standard that everybody should be doing. So I don't think it would be as difficult as when you are bringing in some kind of very new information. This was guidelines. And so as the, Dr. Bate put it, being prescriptive is just going to make things worse. So they needed to engage the stakeholders. And those of you who have done implementation science know that stakeholder engagement is a spectrum. Sometimes I talk to Elena, I call her on the phone and say, there is a deal here. I'm going to pay you this much. And then you say, yeah, I mean, all the stakeholders were involved. But on the other hand, I could go to Richard and say, you know, I want to this is the phrase I use. Even today I had a student who, as I was walking down, that's partly why I came late. They have written their proposal, it has been approved, and they can't find the numbers. Now they want to come to our facility and do the study. And if you ask that student, they will say they will have engaged us. On the other hand, others told us about the concept and we told them this does not work. I'm just trying to bring out the implementation science components. That they have a concept of what they want to do and they want to see if this is something that can be done. And then maybe they went to the clinic and presented their concept or asked questions and they answered them and they said, okay, why don't you change this? And they said, yeah, that I will change, but this one I'm not changing because of this reason and the other. And then they go out and conduct a study and come back and now they are presenting. So it's likely that the person in the clinic will say our study. Or study that we worked on in our clinic found this part. So I don't think these people went into this, like trying to really understand. As she emphasized, context is important. And if you want people to really be part of what you are doing, then you have to. And there is what we call adaptation. Although sometimes it leads to, they call it a drift. These guys were talking about fidelity, doing things as the WHO recommends. But even in Uganda, Elena, myself, and a few others work on the guidelines. When those guidelines normally come and we're discussing them in the committee, we pick the components, but there are some elements we say, this is good and it's recommended by WHO, but given that we don't have the resources, we are not able to do the labs, we are not going to present it as a mandatory component of the guidelines, but we will say maybe where possible, improve this, so that it doesn't completely inhibit the uptake of the what? Of the guidelines. That's adaptation. But at the extreme end, you might adapt everything, and then you end up drifting, and you can't say you are implementing the WHO guidelines. But it's my mentor usually say the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's not in the extremes. Okay. The other one. So the other one is on the last question that you asked. I think since they were just looking at how well the guidelines are being implemented, maybe the REAIM framework would have been used, which looks at the reach, effectiveness, adoption, implementation, and also maintenance. So maybe for the maintenance, they would have looked at the pregnant women where it was already being done, where it was a small proportion. Then they would have seen that maybe in that category of users, it was working well. Maybe my last one is the question I was asking Richard, that when we present these things, when we present the papers, which I list here from the team, is that when we present a paper, because normally when we do our journal class, which I focus on elsewhere, You want to see, they say, the p-value is this, but does it have clinical useful? Even if the p-value was good, we think this is something that we want to take. Or as mentioned, the confidence interval. I mean, if you have from 1 to 37 over 120, how would you make sense of that? So even in implementation science, I would like us to come here and present the results, but also go back and use the implementation science lens to kind of critique whatever was done. Yeah, so that's my comment. Sorry, I'll take it more than 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Fred. I think my parting comments, there are some things that are very important in terms of the practical implementation of some of these things that we do that I should bring out that we didn't discuss. There was clearly data issues in terms of data collection. If you read the paper, you could see that what they had in the registers was very different from what they had in their dispensing logs. So when we are doing our studies, when we are doing our implementation research studies, it's very important to look into issues of data, because you might have a very good intervention that is actually working, but if you're not collecting your information well, it could come out the other way. And then the guidelines. From this paper, we also learned that sometimes the guidelines we put in place can be inhibitory in terms of what we want to achieve. And we can clearly see that in this paper, when they brought in the issue of the stratification according to the tuberculin tests and the ART issues, it seemed like it was actually inhibitory to what they really wanted to achieve. And you can see that in the earlier one of the studies they quoted, which was relatively simple without these dynamics, it was about 50% the uptake. So when we are designing our interventions, as we develop guidelines from our studies, we need to ask ourselves, the guidelines, how practical are they in the actual setting? And also in terms of training and mentorship, you can see that in this study it was done for a very short time. Probably if they had done it for a longer period, they would have had better results. So as we wind up, putting, for whatever interventions that we want to put in place, the context is very important. Our data issues are also very important, and for implementation science, the framework that you choose is also very key in helping you to achieve the objectives of your study. So with that, I would like to maybe hand over to Rhoda, and to thank you very much for coming. I'll hand over to Rhoda. And to thank our presenters.